Welcome to episode 160 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with the socials.
The Wall 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram, at 77 Club Podcast on Twitter, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. Please subscribe and tell a friend.
Dan Bayliss is here.
Hello, Wolves fans.
And Jack Williams.
Hello, boys and girls.
Well, Nuno's return to Molineux, Harry. It was nice to sort of get in the ground fairly early, I suppose. So we had a little bit of trouble, didn't we, Jack? Getting in. The queues were just absolutely mental. And I obviously went through the whole scary period of wondering whether I'd actually renewed my season ticket and whether it worked. So it was a blind panic as to whether I'd just be standing there. But it all worked. It was all fine. Harry, let's just start with that atmosphere. It was quite welcoming for Nuno, wasn't it? But when Wolves got down to business, it wasn't like watching a Nuno side at all.
Oh, man. It was brilliant. Full flow attacking. We were all over them, but then they get that penalty, don't they? 10 minutes in at the time. Thought it was a stonewaller. I'm sure we'll get onto it. It wasn't. And then Nuno did what Nuno does. He played Nuno ball, helped with our poor finishing. But we all come out of Molineux happy, didn't we? Because the style of play was amazing. And that's all that matters, because we're entertained, baby.
Jack, it was just one of those days, wasn't it? And I think Traore at times was absolutely unplayable. But again, I think it comes down to its finishing. You can see why lots of big teams are being linked with him, but then you can see why he maybe hasn't moved in this transfer window yet.
Yeah, yet to be in the word there on the 25th with all the rumours
week to go.
Flying around. But yeah, I was really pleased. It's the last two games. When you look at Leicester and you look at Spurs on a whole, I just can't believe we haven't got a point out of either game. Because in both games, we've been the better team. So it sort of proves that last week wasn't a fluke, or Leicester weren't having, an off start to the season. Because we've done it again, really, and we've given away a stupid penalty. You can debate or not whether you think it was a penalty, and I'm sure we will in a second. But overall, we caused them so many problems, and we just couldn't find that killer ball, and just couldn't find that finish. But the amount we're creating, it's just. Even at this early stage, it's too soon to jump on the Bruno bandwagon just yet. But it's country miles better in terms of football to watch and attacking
entertainment
than last year under Nuno, definitely. So we knew we had a tough start, and the fact that you've lost the first two league games and people still thinking you're great and you're doing really well, they've got to be doing something right. So I'm pleased overall. Yeah.
Bailey, it's almost a tale of two penalty shouts. Obviously, only one of them was given. A great bursting run into the box by Semedo that wasn't given. I didn't really see that much of a difference between Dele Alli's and Semedo's.
I don't think either was a penalty, to be honest. Dele's was just done very intelligently. It's what he is known for. He moved the ball to the left, took a step right, and Sarr had already committed.
Time warp again.
Well, very much so, and he looks like a transvestite, so all linked in nicely.
Actually, for the Tottenham penalty, Harry, you got to say that it's probably Neves that was at fault for that. But I mean, aside from that, I thought he had a brilliant game, and that's coming from me. I've been one of his biggest critics, as you know, over the last season or so. But in terms of most chances created during game week 2, Ruben Neves is top of the pile with Jarrod Bowen at West Ham with 5, which, tells a story, doesn't it?
Yeah, I posted out that big stat list from Statman Dave on our page, and he was first on everything in our game, and he was absolutely everywhere. Like, it was. I know we criticised him, didn't we, last year for his lack of scoring long-range shots and free kicks and things like that and being too deep. But he's had a rocket up his ass this season so far. He's everywhere. He's passing. He's through balls. His intelligence. His fight. Just like a new man. He's gone back to what we know he can be like, hasn't he? And man of the match for me with Kilman, he was, and Traore. There were so many good performances, but Neves definitely was one of the players that stood out.
Jack, bring in that.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's had the shackles taken off, really. I thought Martino was good as well. I thought the midfield, which particularly in the past, I've been quite critical of when they're playing together. And I thought they did really, really, really well. And it's one of those weeks again where we're sort of saying nobody really had that bad a game. And we lost. Usually when we lose, we're getting slated or someone gets slated. But Adama caused them so many problems, didn't he? He absolutely gave them the run around at some points and kept fouling them, kept getting brought down. And he's such a unique player. But it's just that sometimes, even when they try and bring him down, they just bounce off him. They try and shoulder barge him out. And it's just like, even if he's off balance, he just carries on and runs away with the ball. He's such a unique player. And I know Spurs are sniffing around him now. with pathetic offers or whatever they put on so far. But if we sell him in the next week or so, I'm going to be gutted. I know people question his finishing ability and his decision making, but sorry, I was reading the comments there.
I was wondering,
but I'll be gutted, and I really hope we don't. And especially now, Kane is apparently staying at Spurs. Hopefully, they won't have the money. So
he's taken a night off from having a mixed grill, and he's absolutely nailed Sam. That is superb.
It's just a green screen. It's clearly not my living room. Bayliss, are you quite upset? I think I don't know if it's just the heat at the moment or the agenda that you have against Semedo. I don't know if you've calmed down now, but what are your thoughts on his performance? I mean, you thought he was at fault for absolutely everything. I'm not sure why.
I just watching the game. Wolves were so good, and the one player where there's no upgrade or no positive to really take from it was there. I mean, the one snapshot I sent you, I'm not going to put it up here because I don't know how to do it
because it's bollocks.
But he just gets caught. He just gets caught. Absolutely. There was a sort of throw in, then a tussle for the ball, and Kane got in, and Sarr made a really good double save in the second half. And Semedo was jogging back 25 yards behind the gameplay. And you think your right back should be absolutely busting a gut to try and save the game. You're 1-0 down, and you've been all over them. And it's things like that, it's silly things like that. He'll go on a run and just run off the side of the pitch, or he'll make a through ball pass and it just gets intercepted. He's no upgrade on Doherty. As far as I've seen, no upgrade whatsoever on Doherty.
I thought
the rest of the play, and I don't want us to get caught on this point, really, because I thought Wolves were fantastic. I thought the play in general, Wolves looked a completely different team, and we have done now for 2.5 games, basically, if you include Forest and Leicester. So there are so many positives to talk about. It's just the one area we've discussed where I don't like it is still that position. There is still nothing better.
Nottingham Forest, is that?
So it's Hoover. It's Hoover for you then, Bayliss. You'd start him over Semedo all day.
I thought he was I know we'll get on to Forest when we get there, but he did play very, very well last night.
Notable mentions, Harry, you said his name earlier, Max Kilman. Only a select few in the Premier League have made more tackles than he has so far. I know we're only 2 games in, but I've written it down saying that he is the futsal Maldini.
Oh mate, he was fantastic away at Leicester. He was incredible again at Spurs again. That one when he flew back and made that block, and I know we're going to get onto Forest, but he was a level above then as well. It's just we've always said under Nuno, we found it strange when he just randomly get dropped out the team because he's always been reliable. I can't think of many howlers he's made. Probably count on one hand, maybe less. Well, that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? 2 fingers, but he's just brilliant and. Arguably, he was man of the match, wasn't he? But there's a few contenders, as we've mentioned, and he's got great feet. He's massive. Me and Bayliss were saying last night, obviously being sat behind the goal at Forest, he's such a huge bloke, but he's so agile and good with his feet. And the only thing he's probably lacking a little bit is he's not very vocal. He's quite a quiet lad, but everything else brilliant. And at the moment, he's our best defender.
Jack, Jose Sarr, I think it's only Nick Pope and Hugo Lloris, ironically, who I thought had a brilliant game and pulled off some absolute worldies against Wolves. He's made a lot of saves so far. He looks to be settling into it. And I know we're sort of talking like, it's still quite early on in the season, isn't it? But got high hopes because after the Leicester game, we're almost thinking, is he just getting settled into it? What's he looking like commanding his box and that sort of thing?
No, I think he's done very little wrong. You think back to like the double save he made in the second half, and he really pulled us out the bag a few times when the few chances that Spurs did create, he was there. Obviously, the only question mark is the penalty. So I think we'll talk about the penalty now. When I initially saw it, I thought it's a penalty. It looks a Stonewall penalty. He's ran out and he's clattered him. Yeah. And I watched it back. Probably not as Stonewall as I originally thought, but I think it's still a penalty. If I'm honest, I don't think it's. I think it's still a pen in the way it goes. I don't know what you boys think.
It's just what I thought the purpose of VAR was.
Yeah.
He clearly gets. Ali's got the ball. He then takes a touch, which takes the ball to his left. His first step isn't to go after the ball; it's to hit the keeper. Now, if Sarr comes
he jumped right. He did, didn't he?
Then fair enough. He's absolutely nailed him. But Ali takes the ball left. Great, good touch. Round the keeper, slot it in then. But the first thing he does is he sees Sarr coming, taps the ball left, looks right, goes right, and then it's inevitable. It's going to happen. Yeah. And every ref in the world will go, cheers, pen. The whole point of VAR is to stop people cheating like that.
That ain't going to go overturned when there's contact.
It's one of them. It's like, is it cheating or is it just really clever play? It's probably a bit of both.
Probably is clever play, but then what's the point of having a video system to slow it all down to the millisecond to try and stop this shit and then let it happen anyway?
It begs the question as well, doesn't it? I think we talked about Semedo's, but he didn't book Semedo, so
yeah.
I think it's always one of those, isn't it, for me? And I know there are times when you go, actually, well, it's just technically a coming together. But if there's an appeal from the player, surely then that either brings into the argument that if a player is asking for a penalty, he's either cheated or it's a penalty. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with Jack. From where I think you don't help where we sit. We were the opposite side of the ground in the North Bank, and it looked a stone waller. But seeing it back when I got home, they were back. They were the same. They were, and like Sam says, one's a booking, one's a penalty. And I know we're biased towards Wolves, but we do seem to get on the bad end of a lot of these things, don't we? It seems to happen quite a lot. I don't know if that's just because we're fickle.
I'd say, if I'm brutally honest and take off my ball specs, I think that the Dele Alli one was a penalty and the Semedo one wasn't a penalty. Because I think it's just too soft, the Semedo one, for me. I don't want to see penalties given for that. That's where we were last season with VAR, wasn't it?
You're right.
So, it's kind of be careful.
5 penalties a game if that's a penalty every week.
Yeah.
Notable mentions for the chanting at Harry Kane. I think everybody getting involved with that. There's only one greedy bastard, I think, was the line when there's only one Harry Kane. Harry, were you surprised to see him? Because we obviously had Dan Tracy from the Spurs podcast on last week who said nobody called Harry would be on the pitch. He was wrong. He obviously came on and looked all right, didn't he? Maybe looked a little bit leggy and stuff, but he's come out today and said that he's going to stay. I thought he was all right, but didn't really offer much.
No, I was surprised to see him on the bench because I thought the City deal was done, but obviously their chairman's a bit of a shithouse, so he's obviously turned down every offer under the sun, and as you said, he's staying now. But yeah, I mean, I think Nuno's should we credit Nuno? I think he's dealt with it quite well as well, the way he dealt with the media with it all. And think of Harry Kane, he don't seem like the type who would disrespect the club he's at for no reason. Do you know what I mean? So if they said to him, look, you've got to come and play after I think he was isolated, wasn't he, before? So fair play to him. He turned up, he came off the bench, didn't really do much. And he's staying now. So, yeah, at least he didn't cause us too many problems, did he, apart from that save Sarr made?
Let's have a look at Nottingham Forest. Harry, you managed to get a ticket, and I think Bayliss, you did as well, pretty late on in the day yesterday. I'll start with you, Bayliss. Thoughts on Forest?
Cool, they're bad. They are.
You couldn't praise your beautiful Wolves side.
You said thoughts on Forest first.
I meant the game.
Oh, sorry. I mean the game in general. I thought we pissed off the park. We were absolutely brilliant. But Forest as an 11. Forest as an 11 were terrible. I mean, they made 10 changes.
Still, yeah.
But they were something else. I was texting mates because I spent quite a bit of time in Nottingham at uni, and they were Forest fans, and they were like, "Yeah, we don't fancy Houghton already, and it's a kids' team with a few strung in there." The only positive on the Forest side is their keeper was fantastic. He stopped it being embarrassing.
He was actually, yeah.
He was class.
Yeah.
He made 2 or 3 utterly top saves, but Wolves were a different level. I've got some stats, actually.
Have you? You come prepared.
I got some stats. I came prepared.
Good Lord.
It's probably from Twitter. I've probably stolen them from somebody else, but I got the stats from the Chorley game. Remember that one? Where we took a weakened team to a crap opposition and had 76% possession. So in that game, we had 9 shots, 1 on target. Last night, 74% possession, 28 shots, 13 on target.
I mean, the difference
it doesn't matter who you play against. It's about how you beat them.
Sure. Well, surely in the conference, they're in the Championship, Forest, so it's even more impressive when you look at it like that. I know they might have played a weakened team, but still.
It was... Some of the football we played was staggering. You know, sometimes you stop and you clap just the football, not even having a chance or anything.
It's been a while.
From the word go, though, like I got into the ground, obviously, with Bayliss and that, and I saw the team. Bayliss showed me the team, and I was like, I'm happy with that. It was way stronger than I thought it was going to be, the team. And from the word go, Matinho just ran the show. Left to right, we were trying to get him behind. We were trying to even get through the middle, flicking a few over to Pedence and Fabio, and Gibbs-White was getting involved. It was like we had this hoodoo on us first half. We just couldn't put the ball in the net, and everyone was just looking around at each other going, this is getting silly now. Because it was like over 50-odd shots were in it at half-time in the 3 games without a goal. Yeah. And there was that one as well from Pedence when he like smashed it across goal, hit the post, and just landed straight
in the keeper's hands.
And I said to Bayliss, I said, look, we're gonna score second half. There's no doubt about it. You can't have this much of the ball and have this many shots and this much attack and not score. It just defies the law of averages. And yeah, brilliant performance. And I just want to say, like, everyone keeps on about Forest, but still, the way we took it to them, and historically, I think I saw Tim Spears tweet this, which I agreed with. Historically, we've been so crap in the Carabao Cup, haven't we, really? When you think about it. So that was what was refreshing for me, to go there and actually show a Mickey Mouse Cup, let's be honest, but we showed it respect.
I agree. I think you can make that argument of, oh, it was a shit Forest side, nothing to shout about, if we'd have scrapped to a 1-0 win and had 3 shots and one that bounced in off Dendonker's arse or something. But we really did absolutely play them off the park.
Yeah.
There wasn't a minute of they had a good chance in the first half where there was a good block from, was it Cody made a good block, or Kilman? And one in the second half, a good header that went wide of the far post. Other than that, it was Wolves continually for the entire game. It was attack versus defence for most of it.
Big highlight for you, Harry, was being sat in front of Morgan Gibbs-White's girlfriend, who you've been slagging off for months. So you wouldn't say boo to a goose when she's behind you.
Well, you're all talk, now I shit my pants. No, well, it was funny. Me and Bayliss were sat there and we looked and we noticed her, and she had a. You think you like take the piss out of me for vlogging? She had a big, massive camera and that. I was like, fair play, but it was actually so good because obviously when Morgan scored the 4th, obviously naturally you're going to look round and she was going absolutely mental, which I was like, oh, fair play, because obviously he's had a bit of a rough time, hasn't he, previously? And yeah, fair play to her, and fair play to her sitting in the away end. You know what I mean? We was on about it, weren't we, Bayliss? Like that is quite. She
could have been a bit more inconspicuous. Like nothing against, fair play for coming, and all the fans were great, and I don't think anyone said anything the whole game.
No, it's all
clearly
good.
really enjoyed it.
Bothered her. Yeah, no one bothered her. Yeah.
But you could be a bit more. I mean, she was dressed like she was going to an Ibiza club party, not the football.
You could not sound any more middle-aged.
One of the discotheques.
She looked like she was going to an Ibiza club party.
She was wearing her disco gear.
I think it's just lucky that she met 8:00 on Tuesday night, Harry, rather than 8:00 on Saturday night, Harry.
Yeah, they're two completely different.
Even in my drunk state, I wouldn't go. Especially with what happened at Leicester. Apparently, she got grabbed at Leicester, didn't she? Like a pissed at Wolves fan. That's out of order. That's out of order completely.
We don't condone that.
It's great.
No, that's ridiculous.
Jack, shout out to John Ruddy. He said it was a great game to watch on his Instagram page. He was, of course, playing. So that was a nice little dig.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really say much, to be honest, because I didn't watch it and I was too tight to pay the £2.50 for the commentary. So all I really saw was the goals afterwards. But I think on the whole, when you look at the stats and everything and you look on the whole picture so far, it's 3 good performances in a row, isn't it? And finally, albeit against a Forest kids team, the goals seem to click and flow, and hopefully now we can replicate that in a league game. Really, it's nice to see that apparently Bruno is going to take all the cup competitions seriously, though. That's a strong team to play in the second round of the Carabao Cup. Really, let's be honest.
Really interesting point.
And it just seems like the same mentality and the same ethos is going throughout the team and for whoever's playing. So it's very, very promising. I don't want to get carried away just yet, as I said earlier, but it's a very promising 3 games. And even if we lose on Sunday, I'll still be hopeful going into the next 2 games we've got after that against Watford and Brentford.
Harry, I know you just called the cup a Mickey Mouse Cup, and that's probably fair to say. But if I gave you the option of you winning the Europa Conference League or the Carabao Cup, which one would you prefer? Because I think one's more Mickey Mouse than the other.
I'll be honest, I literally know nothing about this new UEFA Conference League. I suppose winning the UEFA Conference League would be more of an achievement, no? Because if you win the Carabao Cup, don't you get into that competition? Or there's probably a window in somehow. So, look, I'd love to win the Carabao Cup. Don't get me wrong, that would be insane. But it was great, and I've never seen the Wolves fans so positive on social media and in like a ground. It was just I know we've lost the 2 games against Leicester and Spurs, but the style of football, and you're getting value for money watching that. I mean, I was Nuno's biggest lover. I love Nuno and what he did for us, but it is literally chalk and cheese, the tactics. It's the same team near enough, and we're just flying forward with all this passing, so much bravery, and amazing. Really.
That also said, Sam, we'd much rather go and watch a Thursday night game in Prague or wherever the hell it might be, Reykjavik or wherever these teams play, than Luton.
And also, sorry, just back on the Forest game, the fact that we had that short turnaround made me think it'd start a weak team. So it's still,
that's what Houghton said in his post-match interview.
Yeah, brilliant.
They'll all be injured though in training, won't they? Come Thursday. No players.
I was going to say, has anybody, do you think, sort of staked their claim for definitely starting who maybe wouldn't have been starting?
Just a quick question to the guys who went. How was Podence? Because apparently he was all over he was everywhere.
Good.
The first,
very good,
play. Really good. He took his goal brilliantly, and he was it was brilliant to have him back. Really, there was so many little interchanges on the edge of the box, and he was involved all the time.
Yeah,
Fabio was a bit dodgy first half for me, but second half Fabio was brilliant. He's link-up play, and that shot he had, Bayliss. Remember that shot?
Yeah, it just touched and turned and hit it. It was superb. The best bit about Podence was he won a header in the middle of the park. The cheer was brilliant.
He scored a header before there, but from the highlights, that Fabio where he won the ball back, didn't he, Fabio, and then set up Podence for his goal. Yeah. I thought that was obviously on paper very good, but I didn't watch the whole thing. So.
I mean, they're poor right back.
I've never seen anyone have a game
like that.
Oh, when he fell over Bayliss, that was funny, wasn't it? But Matinho,
he got sent for a hot dog. He had more hot dogs than Mr. Sizzle, that kid.
But Matinho, when you say stand out, Sam, because a lot of people called for Dendoncker to start, including me. I wanted Dendoncker to start against Leicester, especially. Matinho absolutely ran the show last night, and he was like, and he'd probably be one of the players you'd think would be sat out because obviously, getting on a bit, 48-hour turnaround, and he just ran the show. He was really good to watch.
In all fairness, they completely stood off him. They didn't want to commit to. They didn't want to get done by Matinho and give us the break forward. And it didn't work.
And again, no disrespect, but you would expect a European Championship winning footballer to run the show against a team of Forest reserves, really.
Yeah.
But,
but we haven't seen it, have we? Over recent years at all. Not once. Well,
I think he played well against Spurs. To be honest with you, I thought he came off not early, but midway through the second half. But
the other thing about Forest is, considering Forest had about 8 fans there, they were scrapping. We left the ground.
Harry was saying you tried to find some shortcuts because all the rat runs through there, and you accidentally ended up in an episode of Green Street, the East Midlands version.
Yeah. There's long-winded, but you can either go all the way around the cricket ground, or there's a little back road to get back into West Bridgeford. And we started walking down there. There's just a load of blokes in balaclavas and black hoodies just kicking 7 bells out of each other.
I knocked every single one of them out, and then we went back to the street.
What did you do? Go to turn around really quickly to run away and just wipe them all out?
From the away perspective here, anyway.
Okay. Well, look, we'll move on to the away perspective now, because we've got Nick from the United Hour MUFC podcast waiting in the wings. Hi, Nick. We're live on YouTube, so you can say shit or bollocks. How's it going to begin with?
Yeah, not too bad. I hear, you've had a pretty good midweek result, right?
Not too bad. Not too bad. A 4-0 win over Forest. I'll just go over your Twitter just very quickly. It's at United_hour. And I think you've got a preview for the Wolves game up, and it's the pinned tweet there if you do want to go and check out what Nick and the guys got to say about it. But if we start with this game, I mean, it looked like Manchester United were ready to steamroll the division and draw at the weekend. Going into this one, Wolves versus Manchester United over previous seasons has been a tasty fixture, hasn't it? It has to be said, especially when there's something to play for. Is this game any different? How are Manchester United fans feeling about this one?
I mean, look, we don't actually know. We're quite used. We played you so many times, actually, under Nuno. I think there was one season where we played you about 6 times, and I thought we were going to get
every week,
the Europa League as well. But, they're often very tight affairs, usually like a draw or 1 goal in it. But yeah, I must say I don't know too much about your new manager, and I did just hear you guys saying you've got kind of a change of style and maybe a more attacking style. So yeah, it will be interesting to see. I mean, maybe that does suit us better, actually, because Ole likes to play kind of more on the break, and that's often the best way we go for. But yeah, we've had a bit of a disjointed start to the season, really. We obviously smashed Leeds first day of the season, and we were all like, we're ready to go and all that. But then, yeah, disappointing away day against Southampton the other day. We still got players, we've not managed to get our new players in. Varane has not featured at all. Sancho's had kind of 15-20 minutes. We've had other players coming back very late, like Cavani. So we were still kind of unsure who exactly is going to be ready to play over here.
In terms of Sancho, I mean, a lot of English football fans will have seen glimpses of him at the Euros, obviously, which ended incredibly badly. So we're only really seen Sancho in action in Germany. Do you think he's going to start on Sunday?
If it was up to me, I would start him. We had the other day, Martial started and he was awful. So I'm hoping he comes out. I hope Greenwood will play up front and Sancho will get his first start on the right side because, that's what we've been dying. We haven't had like a proper right-sided player for a long time. And that's what all the United fans have been, why everybody wanted Sancho in. He's had like 15 minutes at the end of both of the first games so far. And I think he should be ready to start. Varane is a bit further back in his kind of pre-season, so I'm not 100% sure if he comes straight in or not yet. We're still waiting to see on him.
And just in terms of a starting 11, what are you expecting?
Yeah, I mean, like I say, our back four will be De Gea, it'll be Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, and there's just a question mark over whether he sticks with Lindelof or brings Varane in now. Up front, the only sure is Greenwood, and the only thing is whether he plays right or he plays central. He played centre forward against Leeds and it went really well. He played right side against Southampton, didn't work as well. Cavani's still a bit of an unknown. He's not even been on the bench yet, so he might maybe just turn up on the bench. I don't think he'll be ready to start. And then, Pogba has been playing this more kind of attacking role. And then, our midfield has been very controversial. There's a lot of United fans who are like desperate for us to get a new midfielder because still think that is the kind of point where we still have some weakness. McTominay was not fit to start the other day, and I think he probably isn't going to be fit again. We had Matic starting the other day, and myself and a lot of United fans think he's too old now, kind of way past his prime. And we're wanting to see Van der Beek, who we've seen very little of since he came last season, but Ole just doesn't seem to fancy him at all. So we're like itching to say, why, how come like people like Matic are starting? So the midfield area is the one where I wouldn't be sure at all. I mean, if it was up to me, I'd go with Fred, Van der Beek over there, whereas the other day he's favoured Matic. But I cannot see Matic and Martial starting this game after being really poor against Southampton last week.
One of the referees, I think, whenever they're announced and Wolves fans go, "Oh, for God's sake," is Mike Dean. Mike Dean will be the referee for this one. What are your thoughts on Mike Dean?
Yeah, look, I mean, we've had controversies with a lot of different referees over the years. Mike Dean's not a favourite of ours either. I mean, one thing I will say is that I think the VAR stuff is going a lot better this year. I think like the way that they're like letting things go a bit. The other
we
day
just said exactly the opposite.
Really?
Well, there was one decision. It has got better overall. I agree with that.
We actually had, a decision that cost us a goal against Southampton, where I'm pretty sure last year VAR would have said that was a foul and brought it back. But for me personally, and maybe I'm a bit more old school, I think, they've taken out too much of the game, too much stoppage. And, I think if there's a 50-50 challenge and somebody's getting the ball, like, keep playing. Like, I think we saw in the Euros how, VAR can work better. And I think in the Premier League, they made a bit of a mess of it personally, as well, when you start going into like somebody's toe or like inches here and there for offsides, I prefer if things are left to run. So, Mike Dean specifically, I'm not a big fan of him, but we'll see how it goes there.
Round about a week left of the transfer window. We were just saying how brilliant Neves has been this season. Obviously mooted for a move possibly to Arsenal and possibly to Manchester United too. Do you see any sort of mileage in that rumour to United?
There's a lot of, one of the guys on our podcast is a big fan of his and thinks he's exactly the right kind of player we're missing. We've got kind of the likes of Fred and McTominay who do a lot of hard work in midfield, but we're missing somebody who's really a good passer and can like kind of sit and dictate the play a bit. And, since basically Michael Carrick days, and I think, some of our guys think that maybe Neves is that right style of player who could play over there. And we, since Matic is way past it, we are really missing that. So there's a lot of people who think he is the type we should be going for. I don't know, exactly how you guys, I'd be interested to see whether you think he's ready for kind of a step up.
Sideward step, Nick. Sideward step it would be. But, you're talking about Michael Carrick there. That's ages ago. Michael Carrick years ago. That's back when he used to win the league. That's just so long ago.
Seems like a lifetime, but yeah, I do still remember him smashing one in against us. I can't remember how many years ago it was now. Probably just a couple of years back. But yeah, I'm actually interested to hear what you guys think. Is he that kind of player who can sit holding, dictate the kind of play? You know, or do know like seeing his passing range is very good from what I've seen.
Harry, you'll bring you in on that.
Oh man, yeah. Well, he was criticised for sitting way too deep under Nuno, but this season he started off so well. He's been everywhere. He is naturally a defensive midfielder. I don't think he gets enough credit for his like interceptions and his dirty work, because obviously people see his world is that's what he's known for, and his long range shots and his sublime passing. But yeah, he does a lot of the good defensive midfield stuff for sure. And I hope we keep him, mate. If he goes to you, I will cry. So I hope he stays with us.
Jack.
Yeah, I agree. I would cry, but just because of how well he started this season, it's like we've got a new manager, and I know you said he was unknown. He was kind of unknown to all us as well, really. He was an unknown quantity. Bruno Lage. None of us have ever really heard of him. He's only really managed properly in Portugal, and he just seems to have sort of breathed this new life into the team, with particularly with our attacking ability. And when we went up, and particularly in the first season, Neves was known for his like those cutthroat passes, you know, through defenses and these long range shots. And it looks like he's getting back to that now. So I hope he doesn't go, just because he seems to fit into this new system much better than he did for the last year under Nuno. But who knows, really? It's one of these rumours that's been about for a while now, and probably because a lot of people think, or it's been made public, that we need to generate funds in order to bring players in. But I hope in the last week of this transfer window we manage to keep hold of him and Traore, really.
Bayliss?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I actually think you might be safe, because I think that we also probably need to be selling players after spending big on Sancho and bringing in Varane. And we haven't managed to shift some of our kind of, you know, what we consider the deadwood players, likes of Andreas Pereira. And even, we thought maybe Lingard would leave. We've got Diego Dallo, who we thought we would generate some funds from, but we've not sold anybody this summer at all. So I think you might be safe. I think we're maybe looking in the loan market or something at the moment. We'll see what happens there.
Let's round off then with a score prediction. Nick, I'll start with you, seeing as you are the guest.
I mean, like I say, we had a bad day. I predicted an easy win against Southampton last week, and it didn't work out like that. Obviously, we saw, we did our predictions on our show before you've had your midweek game, so you were coming off kind of 2 losses. Now, I guess you'll get a bit more kind of impetus from having a decent midweek win, but I'm hopeful we'll still have enough to get the 3 points there. And my prediction will be 2-1 to us.
Perfect. Okay, 2-1 Manchester United. Harry.
I've got to be positive. I think we're going to pick up our first draw. I'm going to go with 1-1.
Jack.
Well, this is probably the thing that outsiders doesn't quite know. But although we've lost the first 2 games, we've actually been really, really good. We've actually been the better team in both games, and how we haven't taken at least a point from those first 2 games, I don't quite know. So I think this could be more difficult for Man United than they think it's going to be, particularly the fact that we've come off that midweek. We actually started to find the net, particularly on Tuesday, and put 4 past Forest. So I think we're going to win. I think 2-1 Wolves. Positive.
Bayliss.
That's interesting. I'm going 2-1 Wolves as well.
Excellent. And I, of course, as always, will go 2-1 Wolves. Well, Nick, thank you so much for joining us. The insight's been great. And if you do want to go and check out their preview of the game, you can do that. It's at United_hour on Twitter. Thanks for your time, Nick.
No problem. Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Nick.
Thank you, Nick.
Bye-bye.
Cheers, mate.
Perfect. And let's get your latest betting odds and ticket news.
Hello, betting fans. Back again. Do you know what was lovely? I didn't say it in the Forest bit. Being back in a stadium with actual proper fans all close in.
I suppose you haven't had the
brilliant
experience.
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was really good.
Away fans
right.
as well.
Odds are really strange on this one. Up and down, depending on Wolves more than anything. I think we're just quite a decent price to win it. But I like the look of a 1-1 draw. Jimenez to score first at 30-1.
Not bad.
That was fairly sensible.
It's coming, isn't it? His goal's coming.
I'd look at what Nick was talking about. A 2-1 Man U, Mason Greenwood score first, 22-1. So it's pretty short. Anything Man U side.
Short, yeah.
Then the 2 I've gone with Fernandes to score first, because they're definitely going to get a penalty.
Obviously.
But Wolves to win it 2-1, 70-1.
That's still quite, yeah.
Where my money is going is 2-1 Wolves, Neves first goal, 90-1.
90-1. And just, is there a Semedo special for anybody who wants to get involved?
Someone give me a Semedo special and I'll make it up now.
Got to be It's got to be 1-0 Semedo, isn't it?
1-0 Semedo.
He scored against United last time.
A clean sheet and a goal.
Did
Remember that? He did, didn't he? He got that great
Okay.
goal.
He did, yeah.
Nuno
How much is a 1-0 Semedo?
I mean, they've been a bit all over the place last couple of times, haven't they? So, I mean, it could be
It's only
150.
1-0, remember? So
That's true. 250?
Okay, Sam's gone 250.
I think that's
400
not
to
far off. It's going to be about 300 to 1, isn't it?
It's 350 to 1.
350 to 1. Good value. Good value. Jack, any ticket news for us?
Just before we start, Dan, do you know what half-time Man United full-time Wolves is? 'Cause that's kind of my favourite bet lately.
That's a good bet, isn't it?
Hey, what? I'll do some ticket things and I'll have a look.
Okay, cool. So ticket news. Actually, just looking ahead to the Man United game, I was expecting it to be sold out. I had a little quick look online before we started on this, and there were tickets available. So I thought that's a bit weird. And 50 tickets in the North Bank for a start. But what it is all these North Bank hospitality tickets that they obviously haven't managed to sell since they've upped the prices and made it look like a McDonald's. So I think if you're willing to pay for it, you could probably get a ticket for Sunday if you really wanted to and wanted some hospitality. But there also were a couple of singles knocking about in the Billy Wright if you don't mind getting ripped off and paying 55 quid for a ticket. So
depends in which area of the ground you want to get ripped off in, doesn't it, really?
Yeah, it depends. You want to get ripped off in the North Bank for some food or just ripped off just for your seat, but it's probably cheaper than the food. But so there are still some knocking about. Obviously, the caveat on that is, I don't know whether this is for all games this season or just because we've had Spurs and Man United for the first two games, is that there's no general sale window. So you have to buy a membership to even be able to buy a ticket for either of those two home games. So that's obviously why there's still a couple floated about, I think. But I don't know whether that'll be their actual plan going forward, but that's just another thing that the club have introduced to piss people off in the closed season. So yeah, if you really want to go to Man United and you're willing to pay for it, I think you'll be able to get in somehow.
It's crazy, isn't it? Because it's a bank holiday, isn't it? So I mean, the fact that it is a Sunday is shit, and nobody likes that. And we'd obviously always rather play on a Saturday afternoon. But the fact it's a bank holiday, you'd have thought people would have been well up for it.
Oh, yeah, it's like a Saturday, isn't it? A bank holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Bank holiday Sunday. It's like a Saturday. So I'm gutted I can't go. But apparently people like to get married then. It's a key wedding place. So I think you're at a wedding as well, aren't you, Dan?
You get married, Dan?
We're both at separate weddings. So, it's inconvenient. The only other thing to say is ticket information was released, I think, just after we got the last pod out last week for Watford away. The allocation for that is always quite small because it's quite a small ground, Watford. So 2,292 on sale to the away season ticket holders at the moment. And then on the points as of tomorrow, starting with 1,260. It's the first game in a while where I've not been in the top points bracket. I've got to wait till Friday to get mine. So it's squeaky bun time. Hopefully there'll be enough left. But they're priced at £30 for adults, and there's concessions for the over 65s and students as well. So yeah, hopefully I'll get one on Friday morning, but we will see.
Is Squeaky Bun Time the name of your bakery that you're about to open along with
I'm
Dan's Florist in Nottingham?
Nottingham Florist.
Perfect. Okay. Look, the last thing we're going to talk about, and hopefully until January. Oh, sorry. Go on. You've got the odds.
Man United half-time, Wolves full-time.
Yes.
45s.
40s.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're probably getting better value.
We're still a
Other
second
makers are available.
So absolutely.
That's that.
Could happen. And it's been the case, isn't it? First two Premier League games, 1-0 down at half-time. So there you go. I mean, we haven't won the second half. So hopefully we don't talk about transfers until January now. There's probably just under about a week left of the transfer window now. I know we've been dropping lots of rumours into the WhatsApp group over the last couple of days. I mean, we've mentioned Ruben Neves in the away perspective there, so he pretty much sort of covered that one. But Harry, you reckon this bloke on Twitter is quite reliable? But I mean, we'll wait and see.
Oh, that Ruben Neves one, yeah.
Yeah, the Neves one, I don't know. But I think the main one that we would all be mostly gutted about at the moment, just because how well he started this season, aside from his finishing, is Adama Traore. Now that Harry Kane is staying at Tottenham, and he's come out and said that that is the case, does that put his potential transfer to Tottenham on ice, Harry?
I think so. And it's just, they're so cheeky, aren't they, Tottenham? Like to offer a loan deal, and then I think it was 4 million or 5 million up front, and then pay later. It's just ridiculous. I personally think Traore wants to go. I just think you can just tell. I think, but I think he will stay. Bruno Lage did actually say, didn't he, in his post-match interview, that he will stay. He'll be with us this season. So, and I agree. I think the Harry Kane deal was really important to us with the Traore stuff, really. And I think the fact he's staying now, we will have him, and I'm glad we will.
The only reason they've offered that let's be honest, it's a stupid deal, isn't it? Why would you pay €5 million or pounds or whatever to lose your player who's been the best player in the first 2 games for the whole season to a rival in the Premier League? They've only done that to unsettle him, because then he's going to think, oh, they're interested, and it's going to start playing in his mind, like, do I want to go? Can I go? Should I go? And all this sort of stuff. And the annoying thing with all of this is that there's been more talk in the last week about players leaving when there should be about players coming in, because we're still, although it's been very promising, everyone knows we are still 2 or 3 players short of being a force. And to even contemplate now losing Traore or losing Neves this late on in the window, when there's very few whispers about players actually coming in, would be a crime. And that's not backing the manager. We've got him in. Right. We've probably got him in cheaper than you would have done if you brought in bloody Benitez or somebody like that. You've got to back him now, because we've had glimpses of how good it could be. And if you even contemplate letting either of those 2 go, unless obviously they throw the dummy out the pram and just try and do a strong, force your arm, then it's criminal. And we need to bring in at least 2 players in the next just under a week. And that's if nobody leaves, and we need quality. And if we do, we can be a force again. So, yeah, he has to. Now that they haven't got the money, Spurs are tight. The only reason they've done it is mind games, and it's quite shameful, really. I'm not a big fan of it. So, yeah, they've got to stay.
Bayliss?
Yeah, well, I agree. They've got to stay, but at the same time, we've got to bring people in. I think Fosun announced pretty decent profits for the branch of the company that we're under in the last couple of days.
A couple of new rumours today, though, wasn't there? There's that. I was
going to say, Duje
Coleticar,
I think, Marseille, the centre-back. I mean, I've never heard of him, but then I'm not really across European football.
The one I have heard of is that the Welsh striker. Did we mention that last podcast?
Oh, Kiefer Moore.
Yeah, I know it's not. It's a completely different style, isn't it, for us? A real big shithouse, basically, who's good in the air, and with the amount of crosses we can put in, I think he'd score a few goals for us. And I don't mind it. I wouldn't mind that as an option. I mean, a lot of people are saying on Twitter that if it's under 10 million, then why not have him as, backup fighting to get in there with Raul and Fabio?
The Welsh William Jose.
Well, I didn't quite understand the negative reaction to that. Straight away, it's like, it's not a bad. Everyone knows whoever comes in the striker position is going to be 2nd/3rd choice behind Jimenez. So what's wrong with taking someone from the Championship if it means we get 3 players?
And Jack, how long have we been banging on about them shopping in the domestic market? We do it, and everyone starts crying, saying it's not good enough. So,
because it's not a really well-known name.
Yeah.
In terms of coming in, I mean, I know we've mentioned that we need to do this, but there's heart and head moment here, isn't there, Harry? I mean, your heart says we need a quality centre-back, centre midfielder, and probably another striker. What do you see happening between now and the end of the transfer window in your head?
I personally think we'll probably sign 1 player. That's it.
You think one? I don't think we'll sign any.
I think we'll sign 1 because you know how picky they are as well. The one thing you can't accuse of Jeff Sheehan that are doing is just buying someone for the sake of it, can you? So unless they get some completely, he thinks Fabio Silva's the best thing since Messiah, doesn't he? When he was doing that chat thing, so. But he looks quite good against Forest. But yeah, I think 1 player will come in, and I think we'll all be like meh. But then the news about Neto. I think Fancast said he's going to come back in late February, but Bruno Lage come out saying he reckons he might be back for November. So, that's. I
wonder who's got the better knowledge.
I'd probably trust Bruno Lage on Fancast, but don't.
We're not starting that.
No, bit of
Harry's banned from Twitter. You're banned from being sarcastic.
I won't say anything ever again.
I don't give a fuck, but I want to play at Molineux next year. So stop
it. Jack, heart and head. What's your head saying?
I would quite happily take just 1 more signing if nobody leaves now. That's how it's got to. And this whole thing now, it's just, and I said just about Traore being unsettled. I think I liked it better when the window was shut before the season started.
Correct.
So you don't have this crap with Traore, you don't have this crap with Kane. You don't have, the thing is, as soon as anything comes from a half reliable source like Fabrizio Romano or anybody, you've then got all bloody thousands of Twitter Virgin accounts pretending they're in the know, saying the same thing, haven't you? And everyone's trying to be a pundit without actually knowing anything, which is basically the same as most local journalists.
That means you can go and get a job at the Athletic.
That's true.
So you get what I mean? Nobody really knows anything. And look back to Trincao. Nobody had any whisper of that. It just kind of happened. So I'm hoping there's going to be a couple of aces up the sleeve. And based on what's happened on the pitch in the last just over a week, people will see now that we can't sell our best players if you want us to progress. So And that's it, really. It's all about ambition now. And sometimes showing ambition is not about going out and buying players. It's about holding what you've got and just standing firm with it.
The thing is, Bailey, it's for a lot of the sort of like the boo boys and girls out there who are saying, Fosun are just an investment firm. They're doing it to invest. And if that is the case, which I think it probably is the case, then that means that the best players will stay, because the investment, if your team is playing European football on a regular basis, is that your assets are worth more. So therefore, selling club wouldn't be an option if that was to be believed.
Well, we'll have to rotate playing staff to generate more availability of funds to buy in new players. That's inevitable, but it seems like it's a long-term hold, and the only way to increase the value of our asset is for it to get better and more renowned. And Man United are now shit, frankly, but they're the best marketing brand is going in sport. So Wolves have just got to keep doing it and keep pushing forward and onwards, and by getting up the league and by doing better on the pitch and by playing more entertaining football, it can only help. So I can only see them putting money in. It's the things that worry me about Fosun are the things like the stadium.
Would that be one of the biggest things for you outside of?
Yeah, it shows massive intent, doesn't it? It shows what you want from your club. If you look at the design Leicester have put out from what they're doing at their training ground and then at the stadium, compared to what we have and then what they were proposing, they're worlds apart. Worlds apart.
See, Mbappe looks like he's on the way to Real Madrid. Harry, do you think 137 million pounds is probably a little bit out of Wolves' price range?
Is that a serious question, or
no? But one is a more serious question: is that Torreira at Arsenal is going to Fiorentina on loan, and I'd take him.
Yeah,
I thought he's been decent whenever he's played against us. I don't know how you feel about that. I've just sprung that on you, to be fair. So I'll take him. I'd take a lot of people, but it's whether Fosun and Jeff Shield take him in at the end of the day, not us. Perfect. Okay. Well, has anyone else got anything else to add?
No. Have we got any questions? Were there questions in the chat?
Oh, Ole Gunnar
Solskjaer. I've got a question.
I've got some guy pretending to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, but
the real Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has said, "Hi guys, Ollie here. Hi Ollie, good to have you on the show. I'm going to give you a great chance of winning by using some very basic tactics of sit back and nick a goal. I won't use Varane or Sancho, and I won't make intelligent subs, Ollie." So very honest, very honest from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer there.
Hilarious. It's the height of witty banter, isn't it? Creating a fake YouTube profile as a football manager and then saying silly things you're going to be doing.
Right. Well, you also be like using the hashtag Raoul to generate cash for your YouTube channel.
Right, you've just alienated the Manchester United.
Richard's asked about. I think we spoke about this the other week, didn't we? Would we take Boateng on a free?
Boateng, I would definitely.
Wages, though, innit?
Yeah, that's the big issue.
Thing is, though, if he's on a free transfer, it's like the whole Cavani argument, isn't it?
Yeah,
you bring in Cavani for free. Huh?
You can't alienate the rest of the players. You can't just have one lad sat there on 200 grand, whereas everyone else on 100 or 100, whatever they're on, 110.
Yeah, true.
Do we know, is Moutinho still the hottest paid player? Do we know? Because he was on.
I think he is. I think.
As far as I'm aware.
Yeah, I think Moutinho's definitely up there. He always has been, hasn't he? And that. Yeah, I don't think because he was linked back to go back to Sporting Lisbon, wasn't he, in the summer? And I thought he'd go Moutinho, but the way he's performed, like the start of this season, fair play to him, because let's be honest, we were all doubters, weren't we, going into this season? So hats off to him.
I think we do need to be careful because it's start of the season, it's probably fresh, and whether he can last the whole time, we don't know, and that's why we need another midfielder, don't we? But.
And just finally, just on the Traore thing, it was going to be a new deal or sell, wasn't it? That was what we were talking about in the WhatsApp group. Harry, what were you going towards? Do you reckon he'll sign a new deal?
I don't think he will sign a new deal. No, like I said earlier in the podcast, I think he does want to leave. And then it's whether, obviously, Jeff and that want the money now, which the reports are, the main reports are, is that they are turning down. I know they're silly offers, but I think they want 40 million up front, don't they, else to go away? Which is a lot of money, isn't it? But if we leave it a year, that goes down a lot, doesn't it? But we've got to keep him because he is. I know he was frustrating against Spurs with his finish that he had, blah blah. But he's our main threat at the moment in the attacking line. With Raul being so rusty,
just give him what he wants. Because I know apparently his gripe was that he wasn't one of the highest paid players at the club. But if he wants 100 grand a week, I think you've got to give it him now. Yeah. Otherwise, you're going to lose him to somebody else.
I agree.
And also, if you just get him on that contract, we don't have to keep him forever because if he's got a longer contract, you're going to get more money when he does go.
Yeah.
It's clever. So you don't want that contract just to roll down and suddenly that 40 million just goes to nothing.
Is that
But
the kind of
then-
player you want at the club? That I want to be the star of the show. I want to be the highest paid. I want to be this. I want to be that.
Yeah,
Because
they want to score goals and they want to do better and they want to play in Europe.
well, yeah, but he hasn't scored any goals, so maybe he does try and want to do that. And I would welcome that happening.
But
He's
to be
been
fair,
a standout player
he's had no chances to score, though, has he, Sam? Let's be honest.
No, not at all. It's
Maybe
made
he's,
it fault to be fair.
Maybe he's scared of falling into the Harry Kane trap, where you sign a 6-year deal, get promised that we'll let you leave, and then they just don't let you leave.
To be fair, if Traore had scored about 180 or 200 Premier League goals, I'd probably be on the same page as that. Yeah.
Another just a quick one. Sorry, Sam.
Go on.
Sorry, just a quick one. Just come to my head. Raul Jimenez, right? Obviously, he's not going to get off to a flyer with his injury. He had that chance against Spurs that he probably should have scored. Would you? How far would you leave it? Because I'm in this group chat, and this lad in there called Joey, he said he reckons now's the time to drop him and put Fabio in already off the back of the Forest game. I said that's too harsh.
Madness.
Keep Raul in there. We've got to give him a few more games, haven't we, so he can get a goal and
End of
get back to his
October.
old play. Yeah, come on. It's a bit hard. I know Fabio did okay last time, but he didn't score himself, did he? And that was against Forest. So
I think
that
we'll
was
be able to
interesting.
tell, won't we? By the end of October, we'll be able to tell whether he's got a chance of being his old self.
But he hasn't jumped out yet saying that he's off the pace or he's not heading or he's like, it's he's had chances, to be fair, and he's just hasn't scored, has he? So
he hasn't played for so long, though, has he? But I think you've got to give. I think a good run in the side is between 5 and 10 games, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think
think
we've
it
been
will happen.
discussing this yet, really.
No.
I think we haven't played enough football.
No, I
He
agree.
probably should have scored against Spurs. He had 2 good chances.
He
but
definitely should have scored.
that's
100% should have scored.
That's the game of being a striker, isn't it? You know, if you scored every single one, you'd be the world's
A good
best
striker.
okay.
Yeah.
Does that mean you've just got to see what the next couple of weeks bring, because the signs are promising. If you keep creating chances for a player of Raul's quality, he's not going to go without a goal for that long. I don't think.
Perfect. Okay, well, we'll leave that there for another week, and Albion are losing, so that's always a good time to finish on a positive note. And we'll say goodbye to Harry Mansell,
See you, everyone.
Dan Bayliss,
far a bit.
and Jack might have something to say.
I have one quick question. When's the cup draw for the next round? Do we know?
Tonight, it's after that game. It's
After the game tonight. Cool. There we go.
There we go. There's a goodbye from Jack,
Goodbye.
and it is a goodbye from me. Goodbye.